What's up, YouTube? It's your man Big Nord back at it again. I'm about to check out this news that hit airwaves in the 90s that just rocked politics. I'm talking about the Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton scandal. Let's go ahead and delve in.
A damaging cloud is hanging over the White House this morning. CNN has confirmed that Whitewater counsel Kenneth Starr has been granted permission to expand his investigation. He will be looking into new allegations that President Clinton had an affair with a former White House intern and then urged her to lie about it. CNN White House correspondent.
Why they all in his business? How they get all that information, you know? All those secret documents, you know, over his personal life.
John King is following the story, and he joins us now from the White House. John?
Well, Donna, what began as a search for evidence in the Paula Jones sexual harassment case has mushroomed into another investigation of the president and his personal conduct. Now, sources tell CNN that independent counsel Kenneth Starr is investigating whether the president and his confidant, Washington lobbyist Vernon Jordan, asked a former White House intern to lie about a relationship she says, or at least alleges to have, with the president. Now, at issue is whether the intern had a sexual relationship with the president, something the Jones team wants to prove as part of its sexual harassment case. Sources say Starr is investigating whether Mr. Clinton and Mr. Jordan conspired to encourage the intern to commit perjury, and whether in the process the two men obstructed justice. Now, the Washington Post reports that there are tape recordings of the intern.
Perjury about his personal life, man. They had so many other important matters of the world that needed to be discussed and taken care of. But, you know, all this is happening.
Turn 24-year-old Monica Lewinsky talking to another former White House aide, Linda Tripp, in which Lewinsky alleges she had a year-and-a-half-long affair with the president. But Lewinsky has signed a sworn statement now denying any relationship with the president. The White House is referring all questions to Mr. Clinton's personal lawyer, Robert Bennett. He tells CNN, quote, "The president adamantly denies any relationship with this woman, and she has denied it as well. I smell a rat." But Lewinsky's attorney isn't so adamant. He tells the Los Angeles Times, quote, "She signed the declaration and stands on it at this time." But attorney William Ginsburg went on to say, "But I'm smart enough after 30 years as a trial lawyer to know that there's always a surprise around the corner." So the shock here at the White House this morning, the independent counsel investigation that began as the investigation of the Whitewater case in Arkansas now expanded to include allegations of sexual misconduct by the president in the White House. Donna?
John, you show us how Lewinsky is talking to Linda Tripp. What do we know about Linda Tripp and how she fits into this?
Well, Linda Tripp is a prominent figure in the sexual harassment case filed by Paula Jones. She was a Bush appointee, worked in the White House when Mr. Clinton came to office in 1993. She later gave testimony to the Paula Jones legal team that another former White House aide, a woman by the name of Kathleen Willey, emerged from a meeting with the president flustered. Now, Willey initially refused to cooperate with the Jones legal team.
Flustered, like, I can't believe what he just said or, you know, showed me in the Oval Office. It's crazy, man. But a lot of people that are getting high offices and abuse their power, you know, which is unfortunate, you know, but they got bigger issues, like I said before, in the world.
But after they received a subpoena, she has given an affidavit, and sources tell CNN in that affidavit, she alleges that the president, during a meeting just off the Oval Office, at one point kissed her and made improper conducts to her. That testimony affidavit has been filed as well in the Paula Jones case.
Good evening, I'm Martin Savage.
Good evening, I'm Joey Chen, and this is The World Today. First up, bombshell allegations rock the White House. In Washington this evening, supporters of the president are reeling, and his enemies are ready to pounce. CNN senior White House correspondent Wolf Blitzer with charges of sex, lies, and audio tapes.
The president says it's not true.
There is not a sexual relationship, an improper sexual relationship, or any other kind of improper relationship.
You had no sexual relationship with this young woman?
There is not a sexual relationship. That is accurate. I did not ask anyone to tell anything other than the truth.
But it's the most serious legal challenge he's ever faced. At issue, whether Mr. Clinton had a sexual relationship with a former White House intern, Monica Lewinsky, and whether he conspired with his close friend, Washington attorney Vernon Jordan, to convince her to lie about it under oath. Whitewater independent counsel Kenneth Starr's probe has now been expanded to include potentially impeachable offenses.
impeachment might very well be an option, because subornation of perjury and tampering with witnesses, obstruction of justice are very, very serious charges.
CNN has learned Starr now has at least 17 secretly recorded audio tapes of conversations Lewinsky had with another former White House staffer, Linda Tripp. Tripp is said to have come to Starr with some phone conversations she had recorded. He then wired her with a concealed microphone to tape additional conversations. Sources say the tapes include Lewinsky's graphic descriptions of a long-term sexual relationship she allegedly had with Mr. Clinton. In addition, sources say Lewinsky is heard on the tapes suggesting she was encouraged to lie about it during conversations with both the president and Jordan. Her lawyer confirms Jordan later played a key role in getting her a public relations job in New York and says she's been devastated by all of this. Meanwhile, Revlon, the public relations related operation with which Vernon Jordan was affiliated, and Vernon Jordan helped Monica Lewinsky get that job, has now issued a statement saying that job opportunity has gone away. The statement saying that in light of today's developments, the company no longer believes Ms. Lewinsky should be offered that kind of job. At the same time, we've learned that within the past couple hours, the White House has started to receive subpoenas from the independent counsel, Kenneth Starr, seeking all of the records involving Monica Lewinsky, phone records, job records.
Blitzer used to be on site, man. He had to work hard for that cozy office he got now.
When she entered the White House, when she left the White House, we're told by sources that she would frequently come into the West Wing of the White House, where the Oval Office is, late at night, even as late as midnight, all of which has rocked the White House. Officials here, Joey, are very sad.
Yeah, Wolf, if you can follow up on that a little bit. I mean, even the president's closest supporters are acknowledging that this one is serious. Can you talk to us further about the mentality at the White House tonight?
They're very worried about all of this, the accumulation of events. They're worried that the charge, obstruction of justice, a cover-up, if in fact that is true, that could in fact lead to impeachment proceedings. This is something very, very serious, a criminal proceeding. On Friday, Monica Lewinsky is scheduled to provide a deposition in the Paula Jones sexual harassment lawsuit. Earlier, she had denied that there had been any sexual activity, any sexual relationship with the president in a sworn affidavit that she provided to her lawyer. We're now told she can be expected to take the fifth against self-incrimination when she provides that deposition. That, in fact, could lead to Kenneth Starr's decision to offer her immunity from prosecution, as he's offered to Linda Tripp, her friend, with whom all of the conversations were recorded. And one final note, Joey, there are telephone conversations, we're told, audio tapes of the president making phone calls to Monica Lewinsky's home. The recordings were on the tape machine, the recording machine, president leaving messages there, and no sexual overtones or anything like that, but the obvious implication is that the president was calling a former intern at the White House.
His appearance on this program is due to friendship. He is not in a great mood. He is James Carville, senior advisor to President Clinton, famed Democratic strategist. What's your read, or should we say spin?
Well, first of all, the seat's getting kind of hot here. Look, the president has denied this. What I say is the president said it, I believe it, and that settles it. Fortunately, not everybody has the same view I do. No, I think that we're going to get to the bottom of this, and pretty quickly. Mrs. Clinton, I understand, was very emphatic in her denial. I took the president to have emphatic denial. I believe him. What I've seen happen time and time again is as these onslaught of allegations, as this sort of grave thing, as this thing, and then what we'll find is other facts will come out as this thing unfolds. I suspect that as these facts come out, the American people are going to make a conclusion, and I think, and I'm hopeful, and I believe deep down inside they're going to conclude that nothing improper happened between the president and this young woman.
Have you ever heard about this young woman?
No, not until I never heard of the
Not
name.
until today. Right. No.
Yes, right.
Had you heard of Linda Tripp?
Sure. I mean, CNN said Linda Tripp was the one who started the allegations about President Bush, and I remember her from the sort of White House.
Marlon, you remember Linda Tripp?
I do. She worked at a number of offices. She was not political in any sense. She was a career person who served in various capacities, kind of a rotating basis. I never heard of anything that she said out of the way, however.
Did she accuse President Bush of having a relationship with someone?
I don't think so. At least I never heard that.
Well, that was a report on CNN. I'm just saying what I saw on this network.
Evan, is she known as a gossiper about people? Evan Thomas?
She is known for that. I don't know what she did during the Bush administration. I heard her on this tape. She is a tough, formidable, somewhat manipulative woman. She clearly came across as a stronger figure than Lewinsky. The fact that she's taping those conversations is interesting. I think she felt that her credibility had been questioned by Bob Bennett, Clinton's lawyer, last summer when it was Tripp who came forward and talked about yet another woman who allegedly made a pass at...
it's just propaganda on both sides. They got... I know it's a list of things that they got to say on both sides. It's a courtroom, man.
The woman named Kathleen Willey, last summer, it was Tripp who came forward with that, and immediately Bennett, Clinton's lawyer, questioned her credibility, and so she felt she was under the gun. And she knew that she was going to have to testify in the Paula Jones case. The Paula Jones's lawyers would come after her, and she was wondering what to do if she wanted to tell the truth.
Evan, did Newsweek? No, I'm just going by what I saw on CNN. The first time I heard about that today was a report on CNN that she was the source of allegations about President Bush. But I don't know that, but I suspect that everybody's credibility in this is going to come under scrutiny. Well, I don't want to take a hit, but it's going to come under scrutiny. The president is, and as will his accusers before it's over.
We've learned lots about lots of presidents. Kennedy's popularity keeps going up. Even the more we learn, his popularity goes up. And we go back to Jefferson and Roosevelt and all the stories. Why does this push the Pope in Havana and Middle East peace talks to second and third in the news?
Well, because it's about sex and it's about the president, and there's this lingering question in the country and in the world about Clinton's credibility. And in fairness to him, there has been no witness who's come forward who's really credible, who can say, I saw and participated in criminal or corrupt activities. This seems to get a foot in the door on that issue, and people want a resolution of it.
So sex is still numero uno of interest.
With all deference to the Pope, sex still triumphs.
Because he has been charged with lying with regard to Whitewater, and nobody seems interested.
Well, he hasn't been charged.
Not charged, but it's been... Right, Bob?
Well, no, I mean, yes, there have been all kinds of charges, and Carville is the master at this, but what has happened is that we've got a situation where Ken Starr, who's investigating Whitewater, which is a real estate investment deal, now 20 years old, and he's kind of put up a sign and said, if you have allegations against the president, come to me, and that's what this woman, Tripp, did. There was the tantalizing element of, I have tapes to show this, and so Starr got authority to investigate. I'm sure Carville and lots of Clinton defenders are going to say, what have we created here in the Independent Counsel Act, a kind of permanent roving searchlight with a sign, hey, bring me dirt on the president.
And maybe they should have settled the Paula Jones. Dee Dee, if you were press secretary now, what advice would you give your boss?
All I can say is I'm so happy that I'm not.
What would you say?
My heart went out to Mike McCurry today. I think the president did the best he could under the circumstances. They put out a statement early. The president didn't really deviate from that all day. He basically made three statements. One, that he was outraged by the charges. Two, that he had no inappropriate relationship with Monica Lewinsky. And three, that he had urged and would continue to urge everybody to cooperate with all the ongoing investigations. He kept his schedule. He went out and he talked to Jim Lehrer and he talked to NPR and he did an interview with Roll Call. And I think all they can try to do is try to slow the game down a little bit because, as you know, in a feeding frenzy, so much of what comes out in those first rounds turns out later not to be true.
Marlon, what would you advise if you were back at that desk?
Well, I think I would have advised the president, first of all, if it's not true, to tell the truth and shout it from the rooftops. Be mad as hell, be angry, be outraged to no end.
He didn't look mad enough to you then?
I think if he did do it, I think he should have said nothing. I would have said, let the lawyers do it. You've lived through this before. People have forgiven your indiscretions. They'll forgive them again. Don't say anything that's going to come back at you or could be shown to be wrong. And Here we are 5 hours later, and already his answers have been called into question.
So there you have it. You know, all this man's business, all in the street, you know, just digging so deep to find something that they feel, you know, society will deem inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? Because he's wagging his dick at females. That's wild. You know what I'm saying? But in the position that you're in, you know what I'm saying, they had, you know, many before them, you know, they didn't talk too much about Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that Bill Clinton, you know what I'm saying, was an all-around saint, you know, because a lot of the black community, you know, complains about the 8 years that Clinton was, you know, at the helm, you know, but, you know, what do y'all think about it, you know? I see people, back in those days, they were looking for a tabloid sale. You know what I'm saying? Because that scandal wasn't as big as 9/11, where people actually lost their lives and, you know, tall buildings like the one behind me. You know, that scandal wasn't like 9/11. You know what I'm saying? But they needed something for the tabloids. They needed something to sell newspapers. They needed something so you could click on CNN, so you can click on Fox News and just, you know what I'm saying, tune in, you know, pay your money, spend your time, you know, hug up with your boo, get some popcorn and watch the news. That's all it was. That was, back in those days, that was what the Kardashians is today, that type of news. You know what I'm saying? Knowing ain't nobody get, maybe Hillary might have gotten hurt by that, but, you know, who knows? She played it off so slick. She ran for president. What is that? 8 years later, you know? So, hey, couldn't have hurt her that much. You know what I'm saying? She bounced back real strong. You know, she still supported her man after that scandal. And, you know, in that scandal, you know what I'm saying? And probably before that scandal, you know, shout out to her. You know, shout out to Haiti. You know what I'm saying? For real. If you really want to be real. I wish y'all, you know what I'm saying, wouldn't have went to Haiti and did what y'all did. But, I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? A lot of Haitians are upset about, you know, what the Clintons have done over there. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully we can make it right. But, you know what I'm saying? All this is history. You know, you can't praise the good and ignore the bad, you know. You know what I'm saying? You can't say Bill Clinton was a player and the same hand he fucked up and, you know, an island which, you know, every person of African descent should hold near and dear to their heart, which is Haiti. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take the good with the bad, you know what I'm saying? For real. But what y'all think about this topic? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe as well.
Lord, 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 Big Nord, slaughter the boulevard, Big Rod in your bitch paws. Big star, she tell me what she saw. Harmony, stop, pause while I'm in that rental car. Harmony, not at all, bitch, I'm in that rental car. It's gonna be what I want, bitch, I get what I want. I can't believe that I found this thing that I found. I honestly can't doubt anything after now.